Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Passive Income and Chill podcast. My name is Nana Alice Nayarko, and I'm super excited today to have Jeanine Searcy of Black Girls in Real Estate on with me, and we are going to get into it. She is a wealth of information and knowledge, so let's get going. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and all about Black Girls in Real Estate.
Absolutely. So, as you stated, my name is Jeanine Searcy. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I moved to Atlanta about 13 years ago, which I always say was one of the best decisions that I ever made. Just being around a lot of other Black entrepreneurs, seeing other people's successes really led to motivating me and giving me the encouragement to believe that, all things are possible. Atlanta is one of those cities. You can make it what you would like. Um, so I started a platform called Black Girls in Real Estate 2 years ago as an aspiring single mom at the time. I am now married, so it worked out.
Congratulations. Woo, woo, woo,
Thank
woo.
you. Thank you. But the platform has been fabulous. In total, we have about 160,000 followers, all Black women that come to the platform searching for inspiration, education, opportunities to connect, invest, and grow. And so we focus on just a conglomerate of all different types of topics within real estate. I am not a real estate agent, but my niche is renovation and development. So what that means is it's a fancy way to say I flip and I build homes. So I flip homes, I build homes, and then I run my platform and, you know, just trying to
Just
live the
making
American.
moves.
Yeah, girl, just trying to do it all, right?
Awesome. So, here on the Passive Income and Chill podcast, we do like to focus on the passive side of things. So, what would you say is your main form of passive income? Because you mentioned quite a few things that you do, which is awesome. But of course, we all have a good mix of that active as well as that passive income. So, of all the things you do, which one would you say is your main passive source?
So I have two different streams, and really, I would say maybe three. I don't know how passive this one would be. One is actively investing into other people's projects. So
Nice.
people do it to me too, but it's a very unique way to not have to be what I like to call an active investor, but more shifting to, again, the passive side of things, right? So, leveraging funds or cash that I already have from previous projects that I've finished or investments that I've done and buying into other opportunities. That's been a great source.
Okay.
Um, and I think that that's a really quick way, especially for people that are kind of brand new and don't have a ton of experience. And they're like, look, I'm not really sure if this is something that I want to do. Working with friends and family and buying into those types of opportunities are unique. It is kind of similar to like on a larger scale, let's say REITs,
Mm-hmm.
syndication, crowdfunding, it's nothing like that. It's not on that level, but REITs and crowdfunding are a really strong opportunity to take, you could go from a small amount all the way up to large amounts. You're basically buying into what's like a mutual fund.
Okay.
So you're allocating your funds towards other people's and other businesses' projects.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
One, I wanted to know how you got to that, like how you got into that. And then two, just for those who may not know, what exactly is a REIT and how is it different? Like the way you're doing this, are
Mm-hmm.
you just doing REITs or is it more like what you were saying, you're investing in like private, regular, everyday people's projects?
So sometimes what I end up doing is working with private investors. I have, well, of course, due to the platform, I have a lot of friends, a lot of families, people that are doing their own projects. So that's something that, we'll pull funds together and do a smaller project, maybe something under, I don't know, like 400K or 500K type of project. And so what that does is it allows the other investor to be the one that's actively doing all the work. So they're putting together the deal. They
Mm-hmm.
are putting the funding together. They're project managing, the what I would call like the day to day. And so you're just pretty much waiting on a return of investment once you sell or once they sell the property.
Okay. How long do those kind of projects usually take? Like, how long is your investment just chilling and you're waiting for the income to come?
Right. So it kind of depends, right? Because the market has shifted. So we've had a lot of discussions lately. Everyone has their own intake or their thoughts on what the interest rates are going to do, how long our house is really sitting. Are we 100% back in a buyer's market? I can say that I surely have noticed a difference. Houses are not flying off the market the way they used to. I think that's something that we just have to be realistic about right now. As the interest rates continue to rise, we had another shift yesterday. They went up again.
Yep.
So they're really trying to work on stabilizing the inflation that is going on in our market. And what that just means is too in real estate is that we're pretty much shifting back over to a buyer's market, which means houses are going to sell at what they're really, valued at.
Right.
We may not be going over, $50,000 to $100,000 over asking, all cash buyers, multiple offers. Houses might sit a little bit longer as people are trying to, kind of wait out to see what these interest rates, what they're really going to do. And really what the impact is, and I think most people don't understand, is that as the interest rate rises, it lowers the normal day-to-day, the consumer's first-time home buyer, anyone that wants to buy a home, it lowers their spending ability, right?
Right.
The higher the interest rate, the more money they have to put down, the more money they may have to spend on a monthly basis. So I was reading yesterday, and I believe I read it in Forbes, and it was sharing how, on an average, someone might spend $2,100 a month on their principal, their interest, their taxes, insurance, things like that. Well, right now with interest rates, that number has gone up between it's like between $2,800 to $2,900.
Wow.
So for
that's a huge jump.
Yeah, for like a regular American family that's working 9 to 5 and they're doing good for themselves, that's a large chunk of money. Right. So I don't believe that it's still a bad time to buy a house. I'm not saying that, but what I will say is that I believe that you should fall in love with a house and not necessarily fall in love with the rates. I haven't seen prices tank. I don't think they're going to. The way
it's not going to be like 2008, 2009. No,
I haven't.
We can all dream.
But listen, if it happens, I'm gonna be ready to buy. I'm
buying up everything. Give me a house. Give me a house.
That's right. Everybody gets a house. We're gonna open buy it all day. But
so for someone who is like kind of newer in real estate, and we're in this market, it's been crazy pants, banana pants on fire the last 2.5 years, right?
Yes.
For some people, if they were on the seller side or investing, maybe that was a good thing for them because you were able to sell at or way above market value. But if you were on the buying side, maybe it was a little challenging. So
yeah.
In this current new market that we're shifting into, what advice would you give to someone who is trying to get into real estate, trying to find what their lane will be? Because in real estate, there are so many different things that you can do, right? My focus for many years has been short-term rentals and Airbnb. I've done wholesaling in the past, flips and fixes. So what would you say would be a good strategy right now?
I think we're all still trying to figure out what that looks like. As an investor, I am taking a more conservative approach. I have always gone off what the comps support. So whatever the comps say, I'm going to go at that top point of my comps. But I'm also realistic now that, we have to understand days on market, DOM. How long is this house really going to sit? Maybe in the past, we've considered, hey, this house might fly off in 15 days, 30 days. That may not be, our point right now. Maybe we're at 45, 60 days. So I think it's just a full understanding of like buffering in, your overhead costs, your holding costs, understanding, hey, I may end up paying an additional 2 months of interest on this house as an investor while I'm waiting for it to sell. On an agent side, I'm not an agent, but I would more so assume that they're trying to change up their marketing tactics at this point.
Yep.
You know, like we're going to have to really, you know, show the value of still
Yeah.
buying.
You
I
can't just throw up any old thing.
Correct. And I think that, again, the houses that are well done and that are selling at value and are appraising at value, I think those are the houses that will sell. And the ones that are overpriced and, you know, people are trying to just skate under the bucket with it, I don't think that's going to happen as much as
Yeah.
people would like to. And I think right now, the days of like the $100,000 over asking is probably at a close or at a standstill.
Right.
But
We're
I
definitely in a
don't,
new season.
yeah, but I don't see prices like tanking. So we're gonna have to ride out that interest rate. And I was saying it all last year too. I was telling a lot of people because and I know this we're talking more about passive, but for those that are looking to find ways to get additional money to
Mhm.
actively or passively invest, we still need cash, right? The
Right.
equity in people's homes was so great. Like the average American had at least $60,000 in equity in their
Mhm.
home. So
Mhm.
those that like sat and didn't pull it or were nervous, like we don't know like if that was the highest peak or the highest point as to which, you know, you could get the value and still refinance at a
Right.
good number.
Good interest rate.
Yeah, because now the interest is so much higher. Is it really the time to refinance? I don't think
Mm.
so.
So you touched on something though, and I think you're going that way. I don't mean to cut you off, but I always
okay.
like to talk about getting active to get passive income, right?
Mhm.
So like, you know, what is that active strategy, right? Just because you do have to have some cash to invest in whatever the asset is going to be or whatever the
Correct.
vehicle is going to be for the passive income. So what would you say, like, I think you were going in that direction, could be a good, you know, way to make moves right now?
Yeah. So what I was going to say is I'm not sure if this is the move at this exact moment because interest rates are higher, but a lot of people do cash out refinances, HELOCs from their home because the home still has value. And these homes, the value hasn't changed. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
interest rate is higher. And, you know, we may be at what, a 6%, 5 or 6% interest rate. They might have got it when it was 3. So is it really that time? But a lot of people that I know that are first getting started, they also leverage like 401ks, self-directed. Some people take that 10% interest rate or penalty hit. So leveraging assets that you've already accumulated. Typically, most Americans have a 401k, and those that own homes, those are their biggest assets. And that's where their cash lies unless you just are sitting and have, you know, 50K in the bank and want to use that.
Solid. You can do
Right.
that too. Yeah. Okay. So tell us, well, thank you for sharing that because I think for a lot of people, that is one of the biggest hindrances to getting into real estate is like, where do I get this money? How do I actually put together funds to make it happen? I want to get into real estate. I see the value in it, but I'm not really sure how to move forward. So those are some great tips and things that people can do. So I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Black girls in real estate. I mean, the first time I saw, I think probably on Instagram, because that's where I'd be hanging out, your profile, I was like, follow, you know, immediately. Like I just saw the name and I was like, I'm here for it. So tell us a little bit more about your community.
Absolutely. So I feel like I have one of the best communities. I'm, of course, I'm gonna be bougie towards my own thing that I built, but it's funny because I always share. I remember when it was me and my mom in the group. It was like
Wow.
me and one person. And what I really did in order to grow my community was I shared my story and I used a lot of social proof to help myself to, you know, be able to show and to teach. And when I started it, I didn't necessarily initially start it with the purpose of teaching, coaching, touring. I have conferences and tours now. It didn't start off like that. I was more so sharing what I was doing. I thought there were a lot more African American women that were investing. And then I got the stats. Okay, well, only 2% of women,
Wow.
whatever race you are, in the United States are investors. And the number is even smaller for Black women. And so as
Wow.
I was sharing my story, I was like, they were like, well, how are you flipping this house? How did you get the funding to do this? And I was like, how do you guys not know? Like I'm just assuming ignorantly,
Yeah.
like, well, of course, this is how you do. And they're like, wow. So I started becoming a broker. So I'm a hard money broker.
Mm.
I started, learning the numbers, learning how to flip. They're like, well, how are you making these profits? Oh, well, this is what I'm doing. So that's how the coaching started. So it went to group coaching, then to one-on-one coaching, to tours, to conferences. I host monthly classes every single month on various topics within real estate. I don't claim to know everything about real estate. I'm not an
Mhm.
expert in every single topic. I'm good at fixing and flipping, and I'm getting good at building. And
Mm.
so now I bring in other women, other Black women that are, industry spearheads, as I like to call them, or industry, kind of disruptors that are also doing things like myself. The mobile home mommy, my friend India Monet, Landover Labels. Just
Mm.
other women that have similar drive, that are doing the work, that want to come and teach and want to change our culture. So I'm about the work. I'm about our families. I love seeing other women become whatever they want to do in real estate, but I love seeing women become investors,
Yeah.
actively or passively, because again, not every single person wants to be an active investor. Not everyone enjoys that risk.
Mhm.
So just, teaching so that people can learn, okay, what's my risk tolerance? Like, what niche of real estate do I really fit into? Do I want to fix and flip, or do I want to do Airbnb, or would I like to do REITs? Just
Right.
options.
Right. So if someone was like, "Oh, I've never heard of Black girls in real estate. I want to like learn more and get more plugged in," what would be the first step for them to do?
Sure. So we are a big Facebook group. We're at 81,000 members on Facebook. So just type in Black Girls in Real Estate. We will pop up on Facebook, Instagram, and then all of my like classes, my conferences, tours, and replays, how to work.
Oh, I think you broke up a little bit.
Uh-oh. Are you here?
I can see
I
you.
can see you.
Okay. Now you're good. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so everything is Black Girls in Real Estate. It's seamless. It's trademarked, so we're good.
Yes, good job.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, this is awesome. I think for a lot of women, especially Black women, women of color, the barrier or sometimes the mindset block, right, is a barrier to getting into real estate. So seeing women like yourself doing it, making moves, showing them how to start from ground zero, even without experience, I think is so important and so crucial. And you are doing amazing work. So
Thank you.
inspirational. You are so welcome. You deserve it. So all the flowers, all the flowers.
Oh, and I received them.
Good job. So one thing I do love to ask my guests is if you could recommend one book to our listeners, what would be a book you would recommend to them? And it could be real estate, income, related, anything.
So actually, my favorite real estate author is Mark Ferguson. He has a platform called Invest for More, and
Mm.
I devoured every single book, hard copy, that he basically ever wrote. And I think that I love that you just asked this question too, because people are always like, how did you learn? And I tell them, I did not start this industry with a mentor. I started this industry with books. So
Mhm.
I spent a lot of time reading, researching, and then I took that knowledge and I applied it, and I kind of jumped out the window a little bit too, to give myself the opportunity to get that hands-on experience. And it all kind of just lent to, where I am now. But reading is so fundamental,
Yes, it
and
is.
it's a skill that a lot of people don't want to tap into, because we're very sensational. Because of social media, we have very short attention spans. We don't, really do the research. If someone says something, we take that at, that's what it is. And I
Mhm.
think that's just so dangerous. There's so much good information that's in books. And if you just
Yeah.
spend a little time, I always tell my daughter, I have a 9-year-old daughter, I always say, readers are leaders, because
Mhm.
what you put in your head, nobody can take that away from you. So if you spend
Absolutely.
time, but yeah, Mark Ferguson, he's my favorite.
So Mark Ferguson, and the title is.
So he's got several. He has one on, what is it, the $1 Million Real Estate Agent. He
Okay.
has another one on flipping homes. And you'll have to forgive me because I can't remember all of his titles.
Yeah,
And he
no
has
problem.
one other one about being a passive investor. So if you just Google him, Mark Ferguson, it will pull up.
Awesome. That is so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
So if you want to check Jeanine and her community out, go ahead and check out Black Girls in Real Estate everywhere. And you will find her community and get started. She is a wealth of information, and it sounds like her community is a wealth of information.
Thank
I'll be
you.
in there every now and then. So awesome. Thank you so very much.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you all for joining us on the Passive Income and Chill podcast. All right. We'll see you next time.